Okay, wait.
Alright, so my first question is, do you think Julie will hold a grudge? I said, I don't think she will. I think she likes Bryce too much to let him go, but the end of the story, the end of where we stopped, kind of made me think not really so much because I wrote this before I got to that part.
Yeah.
I like the end about how he was like, should I go, should I not?
Yeah, the last sentence.
Okay. Why was Zalowski's dad being really mean at the dinner table at the beginning of the chapter?
I think it was because he forgot that his son was like that. Because if something happens to you, but it didn't really ever affect you again, you sort of forget.
Yeah, because he said that Bryce had the exact same thing that he did, but they actually got it off.
Yeah, because it was slack.
Yeah, because
then I said that he didn't have common sense, and he also wasn't thinking before he spoke.
Yeah. All right, Tegan.
Yeah. So my question was, my best question was, do you like the way it's written in both perspectives?
I like that because I like it how we get to see Bryce and he's there and he's like, because if we just read it from Julie's side, the last chapter specifically, it would have just been like, I forgot what he said exactly, but he goes like, well, that explains a lot that she's got a retarded uncle. And he goes like, yeah. But if you didn't read that second chapter, you wouldn't know that he said, I want to smack this guy.
I have two things. I say, when you read books, you really don't get both sides. So, like, when there's two people in it, you only get the good side. You never get what happens next.
To the other person.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my other thing is, I like that because, say we were talking about one chapter, you wouldn't know what would happen next because of Bryce's. Like, it doesn't really add up.
I also like that most stories nowadays are being written like that too because, like the Lost Hero, Heroes of Olympus series, Percy Jackson, you see it from him and Annabeth and whoever their friends are in that story.
Yeah, and like when you know how like when Julie said they saw Bryce and his friend
Garrett,
yeah, like they were talking about like his retarded uncle, and that explains a lot about Julie.
Yeah.
Like when you were on Bryce's side, it says I was so mad at Garrett.
I want to smack him.
Yeah.
Instead, he crossed the line and
Yeah.
I want to hit him, but on the other side of that line too is my dad.
And then I said, for my second question, do you think when Julie found out about the boys making fun of his mentally retarded uncle, do you think she will know that Bryce didn't really want to laugh? I said, no, because he wouldn't have stuck up for her because then Garrett would have really known that, oh yeah, you like her.
Yeah.
He doesn't really want everyone to know.
Yeah, like
that.
he said like with that like the bee in her hair, like like he was like looking at her, but then he like made an excuse that the bee was in her hair.
I also like, based off of that too, just based off of the bee alone, I also like it that he says there's a bee in her hair and she believes him and she buys it, but she didn't really buy it.
Yeah. She's like, that's the latest excuse ever.
Yeah. Alright, my second question is, why do you think Chet fell in love with Renee? I said she was a kind-hearted person and he was drawn to it, and his wife was cold and mean and not, like you said, not a fraction of the person.
Oh, and I remember there was a page where he said, I don't remember exactly, but he said, you don't really get to know someone until it's too late.
Yes, you don't really get to choose until it's late. Yeah.
And then he said it was by accident, but he said he didn't,
You really feel for the attractive to the other one.
Alright, my question is, why do you think Bryce is afraid to talk to Julie, like when he was like, when they were like doing the gardening and like they saw him like with his
I think it's based off of his friend and because of Julie is the know-it-all of the class, so and like based off of other stories, know-it-alls are not the most popular people and she's always the one getting everything right. So I think if he admitted to liking her and having that magazine or newspaper in there, if he would have let Garrett know, Garrett is not the type of friend that would keep that a secret. Garrett would be the one to go out and say, dude, don't tell anybody, but I like Julie. Hey, he likes Julie. Yeah, he'd be that type of person. And my third question is, why do you think Julie hasn't gotten beneath the surface yet?
Because I would say if he got beneath the surface other than his eyes, I wouldn't really think that she would be like happy or interested with him because he would really find out what's truly about him. She was just looking on the outside, not the inside.
I like it how Chet is sort of the elder who knows everything, and from other stories, he's like the one who's like I've lived this. You need to
like the
don't
wise
make
one.
my stand. Yes. And so, what was your?
My last question was, it was like kind of off your like beneath the surface, but I said, do you think Julie will ever get over Bryce?
I think from where we are now, she is over him, but I don't think she's fully.
Yeah, what I said is, I don't think she will, because she says when she's mad at him, her body like does weird things, like when she said the tornadoes and stuff.
Mhm.
I
And
think she might stop liking him for like a fraction
Yeah.
of a second.
That's kind of what my question. My question is, if Julie is really mad at Bryce, why does she keep coming back to him? But I said she doesn't really want to be mad at him, but Bryce just keep doing stuff to egg her on and just keep going.
I also think is when she was sitting in her bed and she felt like someone was watching her.
Yeah.
It was me, and I think she was. I think at this point of the story, she's at the point where she's not really sure anymore because she's starting to get beneath the surface
because
and hearing what he's
she
saying. about her.
like likes him, but Bryce always does something to make her like
Mad.
Oh,
back and forth.
and when she was in her bed, she was like, I kept going in between upset and uneasy.
Yeah.
So she was never at that point where she was like, I want to kill
yeah.
Bryce. She was never at that point. She was never at the point where she's like, Bryce is my true love. So some of the figurative language I found was Mount Everest hair, and I said that was a metaphor, and it shows that the character has a lot of hair, and
Because our book did not have a lot of.
yeah, it didn't really have that. It
Did
was
you mean
more-
sensory language?
No, figurative language, because Mount Everest hair is
Oh,
not
I guess it
describing
could
like her ass. It could be both.
Yeah, that's why I put it as sensory
Yeah.
language.
And then I had Wildfire Ego.
Yeah, I saw that
And
too.
both of these are from Shelley Stalls, and I said metaphor, and it's the characters, and it's that she's very confident and loves herself, and she's trying to get others to like her too, because like a wildfire spreads everywhere.
Yeah.
I said she said her heart was fluttering like a baby bird trying to fly. It can't really do that. When Bryce was staring down at them when they were eating their breakfast, their lunch.
Yeah.
My other one was Mount Everest hair.
Wait, what was that? The first one?
Similar.
Yeah.
And then the other one I got hyperbole for that because
Wait, for which one?
for Mount Everest hair.
Mount Everest hair. Yeah, it could be a hyperbole.
Because
but
it's like
it,
an exaggeration.
Yeah.
of
right,
hair.
but it could also be. I said it was a metaphor because it's describing her hair to
Yeah,
be.
so
Mount, it's not using like her ass to say her hair is Mount Everest, but.
Okay, my figurative language, I use Mount Everest hair for sensory language, but for my figurative language, I said, I avoided him the rest of the day, but at the end of school, there was a tornado inside me, tearing me up from one end to another. I kind of said that was a hyperbole because it was like an exaggeration of a tornado. And it says, I said, it shows that she's flipping from thinking Bryce is jerk to like her liking him, like
Going back and
uneasy,
forth.
yeah,
like-
uneasy to, yeah.
My sensory language was their blue framed in the blackness of his lashes. They're dazzling. I said that was sensory language, and I said they use his sight, and it's showing that his eyes are very pretty, and that she really likes them. And, like, it's not just regular eyes, blue eyes.
They're like
Amazing
really,
eyes.
yeah.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
My second one was her muddy shoes. That one wasn't as strong.
Yeah,
but
but yeah, because
it was
that's
the
what we
only
said.
one I
We
could
didn't
find.
have a lot.
Yeah, and I said that was sight, and it's not that it's a description in the story because it's not saying that she was putting her muddy feet. It wasn't saying that she put her feet on anything, which wouldn't be as gross, but saying that she gets mud everywhere. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I had her Mount Everest hair and her muddy shoes for them. I just said they were both seeing because like you could see the Mount Everest hair and the muddy shoes.
Mine were when they were going to Greenhaven. He was stocky, and then the other one is thick brown hair. Those weren't really strong, but they were both sight, kind of describing what his first sight of.
Did you guys see any that were not sight?
Like touch.
There was
A lot-
touch
there
when
was
she
a-
was in the tree. It was like the wind blowing through her hair.
There was
That
a
was,
lot of them.
yeah,
There was
I
a lot
have
of them
that.
that were like that would say this is like coffee. It's comparing it like it's you used a like in there, so
But this-
you couldn't really use it.
I use this as figurative language, but this would be central language. To be held above earth, crushed by the wind, it's like your heart is being kissed by beauty.
so that's figurative language.
I said that was figurative language.
You
I
could
said
say
was
that
sensory
because
language.
that's you can't really be kissed by beauty.
Yeah, I
it's a
said that.
personification.
Yeah.
And my dialogue was, did her brother have the cord around her neck when he was born? And then he said no. He shakes his head no and says, "You did." And I explained that I said this was very important because it was if it would have gone the other way, like her brother or like Julie's uncle, he would have been like him and disabled. And I said, and it sort of it changes how he views Julie's father because I don't feel like, and then it also makes him think about what his father would have done based off of what he said. It's like, he said, would he throw me out? No, he couldn't have. He's my father. But I think he sort of feels like his dad, because of what he was saying, would have tossed him out.
Mine was kind of like the same years, but mine was at the beginning. I said, when the granddad told the dad that because they didn't clean up the yard until now, it's because they have a mentally challenged uncle. Then the dad started to laugh at him. After that, the mom started to cry because the reason the uncle is mentally retarded is because the umbilical cord got wrapped around his head, which in turn caused chromosomes. The same thing happened to Bryce, but there was slack in the cord, and the doctor was on the ball, so he got it all.
Yeah, because they said that their dad didn't get enough oxygen.
Right.
That
And
causes
then-
chromosomes.
Yeah. Okay, my dialogue was, David was retarded, my dad said. People jump to conclusions. They assume that by association there is something wrong with you. And I said this is significant because it was, once again, like you both said, like about the wrapping around his head and how there was, like, how he, like, his cord was, like,
Yeah, you got lucky and had slack.
Yeah. And also with, like, when Julie, like, went to see David, he's kind of like bipolar, like he's
Has
happy
mood
one
swings,
day,
yeah,
like he
like
did
when
with
he
the
drops
ice
his
cream,
ice
yeah.
It was kind of weird, like, how she was like, I can't believe my dad was like living his own life outside of us when he
He
was.
had his own family.
Yeah, he was like, there's us and then there's David.
Do
Like,
you guys want to make some predictions now about what we think will happen in the last
yeah, I think they're gonna. How I was just like what you did. You were flipping through it and you saw some weird stuff.
Yeah.
So I think they're actually gonna start liking each other and then.
I think I was flipping through, and I stopped on the wrong page because I didn't get to my bookmark, and it said the next chapter was flipped, or not the next chapter was something weird, but there was a chapter called Flipped, and I'm pretty sure that now that Bryce is starting to like her, and it's gonna flip perspectives, and he's gonna be the one stalking
Well, my
her.
prediction is, like, you know how, like, Bryce is, like, looking at her now, so I
Yeah.
think he's gonna like her. But then, now that Julie's getting mad,
Beneath the
I think that they're not gonna talk for a while, but then Bryce is gonna finally, like, say, Garrett was being an idiot, and I'm sorry about that, and then they're just gonna, like each other. That's my prediction.
Yeah.